Can you more specifically define what Mito is and also give us a little bit of an origin story?
So Mito, at its core, it's a Jupyter Lab extension, and it gives users a front-end spreadsheet. So you can interact with your data. You can write spreadsheet formulas. You can do things like merging data sets and pivoting data set, creating pivot tables. And then as you're editing and as you're interacting with the spreadsheet, behind the scenes, Mito automatically generates the equivalent pandas code. So if you can imagine a Jupyter notebook, you have one cell that's the spreadsheet, and the cell right below is kind of like a transcript, or you kind of think of it like as a recording a Python macro. So really the tool is just all about making it easier to do, the quick data cleaning and data analysis that you could previously do in Excel, but for people who have complex analyses that maybe have huge data sets, so you couldn't think about putting in a spreadsheet, or you're really interested in kind of creating a repeatable process. Or I think the other big thing that is something that we probably kind of learned along the way is just the ability to kind of audit and understand a Python, like a Jupyter notebook, is so much simpler than trying to understand and trace back all the dependencies in an Excel workbook. And so I think we've actually seen a lot of people who are interested in Mito from that angle as well.
Very cool.
Yeah. In terms of how we got there, so we started building spreadsheet tooling like early summer 2020. So we had this. Our initial idea was Git for GitHub or GitHub for Excel. So a asynchronous collaboration network for financial modelers. Really, we're really selling into the finance space. We got into Y Combinator with that idea. So we're in the summer Y Combinator batch, which was a cool experience just from like an entrepreneurship perspective, being 22 or 23 and meeting with all these amazing people and learning so much. It was like a really, really cool experience. And it was remote too, which was interesting as well. But yeah, so we had that idea, interesting idea, to talk to lots of large institutions about piloting and things like that. But I think we just found as some 23-year-olds, like first product ever made, selling into places like Goldman Sachs, like huge banks, just like the sales cycles are just like 18 months. And it was going to be so long to get validation. Very hard thing to do, I think, without more experience. So we switched to what we thought was like a more self-service type of version of that tool, like a more one-to-one version of that tool that didn't require a team, which was a redlining tool for Excel. So if you're familiar with redlining in Word, we sort of applied that, understanding changes, tracking changes, managing changes, seeing how changes flow through to an output, and apply that to Excel. And that had some success with that. We sold that to some private equity firms, but really found that the pain point we were building around just wasn't big enough to make a huge company. We were like, we were helping, but in a minor way, not in a way that we thought we could turn into a big company that we could really grow throughout the years. So took a step back then. This is sort of at the end of the Y Combinator batch, and said, what are the biggest problems that people face with data analysis, probably in some sort of spreadsheet format. And it was really one that, spreadsheets don't hold a lot of data, capped out at like 1 million lines. And if you're trying to even do like 100,000 lines, it's super slow. And that's sort of the second piece. So the first is that data size limit is very low. The second is they're very slow. And the third is that repeatability is really hard. And so we found the places that actually does really well all these things, speed, large data sizes, and replicability, is Python. So we thought it'd be interesting to sort of bring this front end piece of a spreadsheet into Python and can kind of combine these into the best of both worlds. And I think the interesting thing is that when we tell that story, it sounds like we're building this tool for like spreadsheet users. And I think initially we thought a lot about that, but as we built the tool and put it on the market and found out where the interest is, we've really found that it's actually more the Python, the data science space, that is more interested in the tool than the spreadsheet space. And now we're sort of building this data science tool because people are really, enjoy, I think, as what Aaron was saying, like they enjoy the visual aspect that a spreadsheet gives them, but they can't use it because it can't handle their data size. So by giving them the benefits of a spreadsheet inside Jupyter, they can essentially have a spreadsheet that's really made for large data and generates code for them and is interactive with their Python analysis. So that's kind of where we are today. It would be cool maybe if we each pitched with a lot of conviction the worst startup idea we've ever had.